The moment I saw my wedding dress lying in a heap on the bathroom floor, soaked in red wine, I knew exactly who did it. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I looked at my mother-in-law Margaret standing in the doorway with that practiced look of concern, and I made a decision that would take 7 years to execute. My name is Amanda. I'm 31 now, but this story starts when I was 24, young, naive, and in love with a man named Daniel whose mother had decided I would never be good enough. This isn't about money. This is about legacy, reputation, and the one thing Margaret treasured most, control. I'm going to tell you exactly how I took it all away. I met Daniel at a coffee shop in Boston. 3 months in, he took me to meet his mother. Margaret Richardson lived in a 5-bedroom colonial in Wellesley, impeccably dressed, running her family like a corporation since her husband passed when Daniel was 12. Her first words to me, "So you're the girl from the apartment complex." Not my name, not Daniel's girlfriend. The girl from the apartment complex. But I told myself it would get better. It didn't. Over the next year, Margaret launched a calculated campaign to erase me. She scheduled dinners when I had work. She forgot to mention holidays until the day before. She introduced me as Daniel's friend even after we were engaged. Here's the thing about subtle cruelty. It makes you look crazy if you call it out. "Mom probably just forgot," Daniel would say. Then came the wedding. June 14th. My dress was vintage lace that belonged to my grandmother, the only thing I had left of her. At 2 p.m., 3 hours before the ceremony, I found it destroyed. Red wine poured across the bodice, soaking into irreplaceable 100-year-old lace. Margaret appeared behind me. "Oh no, what happened?" Her voice perfectly calibrated. "But don't worry, sweetheart. I brought a backup dress. Just in case." She held up a plain white sheath that looked like it cost $40. And then I saw it. A micro-expression lasting half a second. She was smiling. I wore the backup dress. I smiled through photos. I danced while Margaret watched, triumphant. But that night I made myself a promise. I would never let her see me broken, and I would wait. For 7 years I was the perfect daughter-in-law. Birthday cards, hosting holidays, complimenting her cooking even when she made dishes she knew I was allergic to. I stopped complaining to Daniel. Instead, I watched. I listened. I learned. Margaret's entire identity was wrapped up in being the family matriarch. And she'd been planning her 70th birthday for 3 years, a massive celebration at the country club, 200 guests. A video tribute, her legacy event. Then I discovered something she'd hidden for 30 years. Daniel's father hadn't just passed away. He'd been leaving her. I found letters in the attic. Love letters to another woman. And a final letter to Margaret, dated 3 weeks before his death, telling her he was filing for divorce. He died of a heart attack before he could leave. Margaret had hidden this from everyone, building her identity as the grieving widow of a devoted husband while judging everyone else from a throne of deception. But I didn't care about the affair. What I cared about was the lie. Margaret's 70th arrived October 15th, 200 guests. A 12-piece orchestra. The video tribute scheduled for 8 p.m. Except the video that played wasn't the one she'd commissioned. I'd spent 6 months putting it together. Not the letters, I'd never exposed that publicly. What I included was different. 7 years of texts, voicemails, and emails. Margaret's own words. The clip calling her grandchildren disappointing. The voicemail calling her best friend's daughter trash. The text to Daniel calling me names I won't repeat. The video mocking her late husband's sister while the woman sat in the next room. 7 years. Exposed in 12 minutes. The ballroom went silent. 200 people watching the real Margaret Richardson revealed word by word. She stood up, face white. "This is a lie. Someone manipulated." "That's your voice, Mom," Daniel said quietly, gripping my hand. I'd shown him everything 2 weeks before. "Those are your words." Margaret looked at me. For the first time in 7 years, she didn't have a practiced expression ready. I didn't smile. I simply held her gaze. "I kept every receipt," I said. "Every single one." Margaret left her own birthday party. 3 friendships ended within the month. Her daughter finally shared her own stories, and the family began healing conversations decades overdue. Daniel and I are still married with 2 daughters. Margaret has met them twice, supervised. People ask if I feel guilty. Here's what I tell them. I didn't destroy Margaret's reputation. I didn't create those texts or say those things. All I did was hold up a mirror. The thing about people who build their lives on controlling how others see them, eventually the truth comes out. I just made sure I was there when it did. And that dress? A specialist saved 40% of my grandmother's lace. I had it made into a christening gown. Both my daughters wore it. Margaret wasn't invited to either ceremony. Some things you just don't get back.